computer. Well, hello everyone, and thanks very much for joining us at this session. I'm delighted on BWellhive Women's Health Capsule to have a very special guest with us with regards to exercise and with regards to the movement of the body. And you know, I'm always going on about the movement of the body and how important it is really to support the core. Having had kids myself, I know it is so important to support the core and also to keep supporting it as we go through the different cycles and the different phases in our life. I know with nutrition and the movement of the core, both of them together really do help us to align the body, the mind and the soul. And on here this evening, we have, as I said, a special guest, Aoife McCauliffe, and she's a Pilates teacher, and she's very kindly going to come on and share with us some of her movements with regards to Pilates. And Aoife has been doing in Pilates, I suppose, for the past 7 or 8 years, and she's a trained teacher, and she teaches classes here in Clonakilty in the evenings. So without further ado, I'm just going to let Aoife maybe introduce herself just a little bit, and then she's going to share with us some techniques and some tools in order to support the core and certain areas of the body to make us healthier and fitter. So welcome, Aoife.
Thanks, Michelle. Thank you. Yes, as Michelle said, my name's Aoife, and I teach Pilates in Clon for the last number of years. And I suppose I came to Pilates originally through running. I would have always been a runner, and I started practicing Pilates as a way of, I suppose, preventing injuries and making sure that my core was strong, and to improve flexibility as well. And then I have 3 young kids, so throughout those pregnancies I found Pilates really beneficial as a form of exercise and postnatal period as well. So I went on to train as a Pilates instructor in the NTC in Dublin, and I'm teaching in Clan ever since. So exercises with you, a kind of a short routine that you could do if you had maybe 20 minutes, just focusing on, I suppose, abdominal strength, on back strength, on the glutes particularly, and a little bit about flexibility as well. So with that, we get straight into it. So you don't need any equipment for this, just a mat. And we're going to start down on our back. So if you want to roll down onto your back, but keep your knees bent up and your feet flat on the mat. So can you see me okay there, Michelle?
Yep, I can see you perfectly. I'm going to turn off my camera now and let you work away.
So we're starting down on the mat, like I said. Important to find what we call our neutral spine, so that our back is level and aligned. Okay, so a nice straight line down on the back, that your pelvis is level, that your shoulders are level, and arms down by your side. So we're going to start with a flexibility exercise, a shoulder bridge. So predominantly about flexibility, but also about just engaging the core and getting the connection between those abdominal muscles and the muscles in your back. Okay, so take a nice deep breath in to start, and then as you exhale, you're going to push your low back right down into the mat. So imprinting that low back, sucking the tummy muscles down and in, and then start to lift the hips. So you're slowly starting to peel your spine up off the mat, coming up onto the shoulders, into that shoulder bridge, so the hips are nice and high. Take a deep breath in here at the top, and then as you exhale, you're going to roll it down again. So you're peeling up nice and slowly and rolling back down again nice and slowly. And it's important to engage those abdominal muscles. So what I mean by that is drawing the tummy muscles inwards and downwards. So think about sucking your belly button to your spine, okay? And if you try to visualize your spine, almost like a string of beads, and you're lifting that string of beads up off the mat, one at a time, and then slowly laying it back down onto the mat again, one at a time. So then you'll find that slow segmental movement of the spine, which is really important for flexibility in the back. But we're also tapping into those tummy muscles, so sucking again down and in, to connect the abdominals into the low back and feel that your core is working as one. So it's very important that you think of your core as made up of several different parts, not just the abdominal muscles. So it's the deep abdominals, your back, your pelvic floor, and your diaphragm, and everything works together to keep you nice and connected and balanced. Okay, so we'll move from this shoulder bridge then into what we call a one leg stretch. Okay, so we're going to float the legs up into the tabletop position, as we call it in Pilates. So your knees are over your hips and your ankles are out in line with the knees. Okay, so you've got that 90-degree angle at the knees. That's your tabletop position, and it's the starting position for a lot of exercise in Pilates. Holding that position, I'm going to draw my tummy down and in. So really feel like I'm sucking the belly button down in towards the spine. So strong activation of those abdominals, okay? And then we're taking a one leg stretch. So one leg at a time, press the leg out at an angle and bring it back in. Opposite side, extend it out and take it back in. So it's nice and slow. You're just pressing the leg out away from you and then coming back to that tabletop position every time. Now, it's really important when you do this that you maintain the same alignment in the back, okay? So there would be a tendency as you extend the leg away for the low back to arch or for your pelvis to tip forward, and you counteract that by drawing the tummy muscles down and in. And that's where you get that deep abdominal activation of the deep core muscles, the transverse abdominis. So nice and slow, press the leg out and take it back. And then opposite side, pressing out and coming back, okay? So if you're watching someone doing this exercise, it doesn't look like it's particularly challenging, but if you're doing it right, you can really feel where the work is in those abdominal muscles and in the low back in this one leg stretch, okay? So we'll just do one more here. And then back to that tabletop position. We're going to take it up a notch. I'm going to curl up into forward flexion, okay? So head, neck, and shoulders up off the mat. My low back is pressed down into the mat, my tummy is scooped down and in. Then I'm going to draw one leg in towards me, so holding onto that knee and extending the other leg out long away from me, and then switch. So again, it's a one leg stretch, but a little bit faster this time, and we're up in that forward flexion, so we're crunching into those abdominal muscles. Chin on the chest, looking down along the midline, shoulders nice and relaxed. Nice slow deep breaths always with Pilates. Don't hold the breath. Suck the belly button down into the spine, really working those abdominals. And keep it going just for another few. Lovely. And then we're going to release it down, hug the knees into the chest. Very good. Drop the feet down onto the mat. Okay, sticking with a little bit of forward flexion now and curling up our crunches. We're going to reach our arms straight back behind us. So lengthening back along the mat. Tighten up the tummy here now again. So scooping those abdominals in. Float the legs up into tabletop one at a time. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, curling up and over, reaching the arms out either side of the thighs. Inhale to roll back down again. And again, exhale, crunching up. And release it back. And again, curling up and back. So you're using the abdominal muscles to draw you up off the mat every time. Okay, crunching into those abs, reaching the arms nice and long either side. And always when you're doing these kind of curl up exercises, make sure that you're not taking any tension in the neck, okay? That all your focus is on the abdominal muscles rather than tightening up the neck. Okay, we'll just do one more. And roll it back down. We're going to leave the legs here in the tabletop. Leave the arms back behind us. Check that our tummy muscles are drawn in now. Back is nice and long. Make sure that low back is arching off the mat. And we're going to go for another variation of that one leg stretch we did a few moments ago, this time bringing the arm into it too. So once you're using all the limbs, you're requiring a little bit more strength there in the core to support it, okay? So you take left arm, left leg extended out, and as that's coming back, you're extending right arm, right leg. So essentially, what you're doing is you're scissorsing the limbs on one side of the body with the limbs on the other side. And you'll feel there's a lot of work here for the back and for the abdominals to maintain the alignment in the spine. Okay, so again, you don't want to feel that your low back is arching off the mat or that your pelvis is tipping forward. So your trunk now, your abdominal muscles in your back are supporting the weight and the movement of the limbs. So it's a really, really good deep core strengthening exercise. And if you're doing this right, it really should feel quite challenging. And again, slow, deep breaths. Do one more each side. Well done. Okay, hug the knees into the chest. Take that little stretch for the low back. Very good. Well done. Okay, we'll take the feet down onto the mat. Again, we're going to come for a little bit of forward flexion here, or curling up off the mat, okay? And it's good to vary doing exercises where you keep your back on the mat with a little bit of forward flexion, then going between the two. Okay, so again, we're going to stretch those arms back behind us. We're going to bring in a hamstring stretch here now to stretch it down on the backs of the legs as well. Take a big deep breath in. Exhale, you're going to circle the arms around really wide as you curl up into forward flexion. Lift one leg, reach up, down on the back of the leg there, reaching for the calf or reaching for the ankle, and draw that leg back towards you. So knee towards the forehead there. So you feel a good stretch in the hamstrings down along the back of the leg. And then release it back, inhaling again. Exhale, circle the arms, curl up, lift the opposite leg, draw it back. Big deep hamstring stretch. And release it back down. And switching again, left leg. Very good. So you're again crunching into those abdominal muscles when you come up. Make sure you're not taking any tension in the neck. You draw the leg back towards you, stretch out the hamstrings. It's a nice dynamic stretch. We're not really holding it for very long, just a couple of seconds there, and release again. So you're just trying to lengthen out or release tension down along the backs of the legs. I'm going to do one more each side. Really tighten up those tummy muscles. Suck the belly button down and in. Very good. Okay, when we come back down this time, we're going to take the fingertips to the backs of the ears, lightly just touching the backs of the ears, and open out the elbows really wide either side. And we're going to go for curling up and twisting. So it's a rotation this time. And what that's going to do is it's going to activate the abdominal muscles along the side of the abdomen here. So into your waistline, okay, the obliques. And we're looking to just get a little bit of a crunch into those, okay? So fingertips to the backs of the ears, elbows open nice and wide. Again, float the legs back up into that tabletop position. And you're going to curl up and rotate opposite elbow to opposite knee. Okay, so I'm going to start with my right elbow, curling up, rotating, elbow to knee, and I extend the opposite leg out away from me and come back to that start position. Left elbow, this time to right knee, extend the left leg away and take it back down. So you're curling up and then rotating and back to that start position. So one elbow comes up off the mat, rotates across the opposite knee, the other elbow stays in contact with the mat all the time. Nice and slow. You start to feel that it's working those abdominal muscles, like I said, down along your side. So just toning up those lateral abdominal muscles around the waistline. Again, try not to tighten up the muscles in the neck as you curl up. Just do one more. And take it back down and relax the legs down. Very good. Okay, we'll take the arms back down by the side, palms flat to the mat, shoulders nice and relaxed. Okay, we're going to do one more bridging exercise and then we're going to change positions here. Okay, so we're going to come up into the bridge, shoulder bridge, like we were at the start of the class, with the hips lifted nice and high, squeezing the glutes. So activating the glutes, the muscles at the back of the hips there. Okay, so really clench the glutes, get them firing. And then we're going to take one leg at a time, lift it up into that tabletop position. and take it back down. And then opposite side, inhale as you lift, exhale as you lower. So I'm going to tighten up the tongue muscles all the time. Okay, really scooping the belly button to the spine. I'm going to keep my pelvis nice and level. So what you're trying to do here is build stability across the pelvis. Okay, so you're working the glutes, which are the muscles in your bum essentially, your tummy muscles, your low back. And as you switch the weight from one foot to the other, try to avoid too much rocking. Okay, so you're trying to build up that stability in the pelvis. You don't want it rocking from side to side. We'll just do one more. And then we're going to roll the spine back down again, nice and slow. Excellent stuff. Okay, we're going to change positions here and come over onto our side and just do a couple of exercises lying on our side. So we're going to start down on your right hand side with your right arm extended all the way out and your head relaxed down onto that right arm. So the neck is supported. The right knee is drawn up in front, okay, just for balance there. And you take your left hand onto the hip. And we're going to go for leg lifts here. Okay, so opening up the hip, just for flexibility there, and also working the muscles down on the outside of the thigh. Before we start, we want to try and engage those tummy muscles. Okay, so think about drawing your abdominals up away from the mat and back in towards you. So scooping up and in, sucking the belly button to the spine, so you're activating those abs. Okay, and then pointing the toe, lift the leg up nice and high, and I'm going to flex the foot and lower it back down. So point to lift, flex to lower. So this is great for flexibility, and it's a good way of building up the strength in the leg muscles when you're non-weight bearing, you know, lying on your side like this. But you're also, as you're doing it, you're working those abs by keeping the tummy drawn up and in all the time. Okay, so get the leg up nice and high, lift and lower, and lift and lower. The shoulders relaxed, keep the shoulders stacked one on top of the other and hips stacked one on top of the other for that alignment. Okay, we'll do one more, lifting the leg up nice and high and drop it back down. And from there, we're going to go straight into leg circles, okay, or hip circles. So extend the leg all the way out, pointing the toe, and then circle, nice big wide circles, okay? So you're trying to open up through the hip joint. And again, try to keep your pelvis quite level and steady here. So rather than you feeling that your pelvis is rocking from side to side and your upper body is rocking forwards and back, you want to keep your trunk nice and steady. So scoop those tummy muscles in and open up from within the hip joint itself. Okay, we're going to switch the direction of that circle. Circle back the opposite way. Nice big wide hip circles. Lovely, we'll do one more big wide circle and dropping the leg down. Lovely stuff. Okay, we're going to come over onto our front from there, okay, onto the all fours, our hands and knees, okay. And we're going to start just with a really simple cat-cow exercise. So any of you who've done yoga will be very familiar with this. It's for flexibility in the spine, but you can also work those abdominal muscles as you do it. Okay, so starting with your back in neutral, your wrists are right underneath the shoulders, your knees are right underneath the hips. You're going to take a nice big deep breath in, and then as you exhale, tuck your bum in under, arching up, dropping the head down, sucking the belly up and in, and inhale to flex. Lift the head, lift the hips, a big dip into the low back, and again exhale, rounding up, and inhale to flex. So you can see that I'm getting loads of movement into that low back. So when you're arching up, you're extending the spine and then flexing as you dip, okay? So very, very good. If you find that you're tight or sore in the lumbar spine, this is a really, really good way of stretching it out. Rounding and then flexing. We'll do one more. Rounding up, suck the tummy up and in. And then big, deep flexion. Okay, we'll come back to neutral spine now, where my back is fairly level. And we're going to go for what's called a swimming exercise. It's opposite arm, opposite leg, extend it out, lift and lengthen, and take it back down. And then switch sides. Inhale As you extend away, exhale back down. So what you want to think about with this exercise, I always say, is that you're balancing something on your back. So if you imagine that you had a book or a tray of drinks or something like that on your back, and you want to keep everything really steady so that it doesn't fall off. So again, it's that idea of building up stability and that you're not rocking from side to side as you switch from one leg to the other, okay? You're also thinking about spinal extension here. So reaching away as far as you can between the fingertip and the toe, and you get that extension through the back, and sucking the tummy muscles up and in. So really scoop the belly button up towards the spine. Do one last one. Very good. Okay, from there we're going to go straight into glute kicks. Okay, so glute kicks are really good strengthener, both for the glutes, so the muscles in the bum, also for your low back and for your abdominals. Okay, very important that you do these correctly though. So have the wrists right underneath the shoulders, roll your shoulder blades back. I'm going to go with the left leg first. The knee stays bent and you kick up towards the ceiling. So good strong kicks. Now draw your tummy up and in. So you're sucking your abdominal muscles up against gravity, drawing the belly button up towards the spine to support the low back. And you'll feel here the activation of the glutes. So when you kick the leg back up behind you like this, you get that activation into the muscles at the back of the hip. You're tightening up the tummy, so getting that activation of the abdominals, and you also feel it in the low back. So it's very, very good for your core. Good big kicks, knee stays bent the whole time. Make sure the neck is nice and long, you don't overflex the neck. So I'd usually aim for maybe about 20 of these on each leg. Okay, we'll do one more here. We're going to switch it around then, going to the right side. So again, good strong kicks. Make sure that you're not rotating the upper body. So you don't want to, sometimes I see people, you know, bending the elbow or twisting through their shoulders. You want to keep your shoulders level, your elbows straight. And again, really work on drawing the abdominals up and in as you kick that leg up nice and high. Big deep breath. So if you're doing any aerobic exercise like walking or running, it's really important to strengthen up the glutes. So this is a great one for that. Very good. Okay, last one. Okay, from there, we're going to go to a plank. Okay, so most people hate planks, but they are really, really effective and they're brilliant for strengthening up the back and strengthening up the core. So the easiest way to come into a plank is from a hands and knees position. Okay, from that all fours position, stepping back with one foot first, and then stepping back with the other foot into that plank position. Okay, so you don't want the hips too high. You also don't want to drop them too low because you're putting pressure on your back. So a nice straight line down along the back, big deep breaths. So depending on your own level of strength and fitness here, you can either hold the plank and just breathe, or if you want to bring in a little bit more challenge, we're going to draw a knee towards the chest, step it back, knee to chest, step it back. So nice and slow, drawing the knee towards the chest, activate those abdominals just that little bit more. But again, you don't have to do this. You can just stay in plank if you prefer. Nice and slow. Do one more each side. Well done. Then we're going to drop down onto our knees and stretch back down into child's pose. So again, any of you who've done yoga will be very familiar with this posture. Really, really good for just stretching out the spine. So you can relax your wrists there after the plank. Press the hips back so you really get that length through the back, and walk the arms out as far as they'll go and really get that deep stretch through the back. A couple of big deep breaths there. Okay, From there, we're going to come forward into another plank position. So this one is a lower plank. We're starting down on our belly, on the elbows, and your hands are linked together. Okay, so hands linked together. Just going to straighten up my mat here. And your weight is going to be on the elbows. Okay, so you have two versions of this plank. You can start by coming up onto the knees. So again, you get your hips roughly in line with your shoulders. You draw those tummy muscles up and in. And this is a modified version of the plank. There's still a lot of work at this level here because you feel it in those abdominal muscles, you feel it in the low back. But if you think you want to challenge a little bit more, you go for the full plank, you tuck the toes in under behind, you stretch the legs back out behind. Okay, so holding that plank position, squeezing the muscles in the bum, so squeezing those glutes, drawing the tummy muscles up and in, roll the shoulders back, eye gaze at the fingertips now to keep the neck nice and long. And with this one, it's quite challenging. So if you find it a little too much, you can always come back down onto the knees and modify it and come up again. So you can go between the two and just build up the strength and build up to a little bit more time as you go. Okay, so again, you can drop down onto the knees, still holding that, still drawing those tummy muscles up and in, and come back up into full plank again. And you can go through that a couple of times. Okay, so we'll just take one last big deep breath in here and then exhale back down onto the knees. Very good. Okay, we're going to come over onto our side again. So this time we're going to be left-hand side down on the mat. We did the right-hand side the last time. And start just as we did on the opposite side. Extend the hand away, relax the head down. The hips are stacked, the shoulders are stacked. You draw the tummy muscles up and in really tight, hand onto the hip. And we're going to go for those leg lifts. So the toe is pointed, lift the leg up nice and high, flex the foot and lower down. So again, trying to open up that hip joint, work the muscles down on the outside of the thigh, and work those abdominals as well. Now, oftentimes people will say that they would notice they have more flexibility on one side than on the other, and it's really good just to have that awareness, and so that you know if you are tighter on one side than on the other. And then you're working towards trying to loosen that up and to even that out. Okay, so doing these exercises on both sides often just highlights that there is an imbalance, and that's very common for a lot of people. So toe pointed, lift the leg nice and high, flex and lower. Go for maximum engagement of those tummy muscles now. With this one, if you try to visualize like you're trying to suck your abs up away from the mat. Okay, we'll do one more. The leg up nice and high and down. Okay, keep that leg extended, keep the tummy working. I'm going straight into our hip circles. Good. So circle one direction first and then we'll change and circle the other way. Lovely. One more. And release it down. Very good. Okay, so to finish, guys, we're going to come over onto our back again, okay? And just take a really nice, simple exercise I like to do at the end of a session always. We're going to extend our arms out really wide, either side of the shoulders. Okay, so shoulders relaxed, arms extended out really wide, and then we're going to press the legs together. Okay, so knees pressed together, ankles pressed together. Relax the shoulders so the shoulders are really rooted down into the mat, and then stay looking straight up at the ceiling, and you're just going to drop both knees over to one side, so twisting, rotating to one side. You'd feel that twist through the back, so it's for flexibility again in the spine. Coming back up to center, and we'll rotate the other way, twisting. And again, knees back up to center, and rotate. So even though we're predominantly looking for the spine twist here and the flexibility in the back, we can still have that activation of those tummy muscles, so still feel like you're drawing in and down with the abs. And just slowly dropping the knees side to side. So it's a nice stretch out. If you're tight in your back, if you feel like you're a little bit caught and you need to improve that flexibility, this is a nice stretch to do. Nice and relaxing too. Just go for one more. Rotate. And coming back up to center. Super stuff. Okay, so that's just, I suppose, a little snapshot of some of the exercises that you can do with Pilates to help just with building up strength and flexibility. So hopefully you enjoyed that, and it might be something that you could use and come back to again. Like I said, it's sometimes good to do a few of those exercises before you do aerobic work. So before you go for a walk or before you go for a run, because it tends to have your core then firing and your glutes firing and everything activated before you do your aerobic workout. So thank you.
Brilliant, Aisling. I mean, that was brilliant because it was really working on the glutes and really kind of went through both sides of the body, left and right, and really kind of tucked in. And I know my glutes have been at me there recently, so I was watching tentatively with regards to how you did it, and your flexibility is amazing. So really good to see, you know, that aerobic piece as well, because it really you know, to share that with others and how that can really be implemented in the home before, as you said, either in the morning or in the evening. Would you recommend how many times a week do you think would?
Well, I think if you kind of build a 15-minute routine, 15 or 20-minute routine in, like if you could do that 3 times a week even, I think you'd be doing great. You notice the improvement. I think for most people it's probably unrealistic that they're going to do an hour at home, you know, in the evenings. People just don't have time. But if you could just build in 15 minutes a couple of times a week, you will notice the improvement in the flexibility quite quickly. And people always say to me that they just notice the strength in their back and they notice the strength in the abdominals quite quickly, really. Within a number of weeks, if you stick at it, you will get that benefit quite quickly, you know. Brilliant.
I'm going to be doing a hormone session with them next month in the group, so, and then aligned with the Pilates, it would be just a nice combination, I think, really, with regards to the exercise. I think it has definitely that bonus with it. So Aisling, thank you very much. We're very, very, very pleased that you came on this evening, and you know, delighted that to share those exercises with people in the membership. And as I said, Aisling very much is based in Clonakilty. She does evening classes in the evenings. And what evening a week, Aisling?
Wednesday evenings, actually.
Wednesday evening. Okay, so you can get in contact via her email address, which I'll be putting up onto the site there as well, and onto the chat, so you can connect with her there. But I suppose without further ado, I'd say we'll say good night to Aisling, and thank her very much for coming on. We really appreciate it. So thanks